and we're going to start at the top, or at least the tallest. The LBJ Presidential Library. This is the pinnacle museum for the 36th President of the United States of America, Texas-born Lyndon Baines Johnson. This is Director Mark Lawrence.
I feel like I'm in Washington, D.C.
It's a little glimpse of the White House during Lyndon Johnson's presidency. This is literally the furniture, most of it, that sat in the Oval Office.
Wow. Phone in the coffee table?
Phone, very LBJ. He had phones everywhere. He did so much business by telephone.
This place is a time capsule, but not just for furniture and clothing, primarily for papers.
First and foremost, we are an archive. We have upward of 50 million pages of stuff related to Lyndon Johnson's long political career, but of course, especially his presidency. The 1960s was such an important moment in American history that continues to echo in the present. So many of the issues from the Johnson presidency are back with us. Voting rights, the environment, immigration, poverty, healthcare, and on and on we could go.
You come in here expecting to see a museum full of some cool stuff, and you leave with all these deep thoughts and your head spinning because it really was such an important presidency.
LBJ started in the U.S. House of Representatives at just 29 years old, then to the Senate, vice presidency, and ultimately became our country's commander-in-chief.
Right off the bat, LBJ is tasked with not only helping the nation heal and picking up the pieces from the Kennedy administration, but he's president now, which means he has to have his own vision. And so he puts into effect some groundbreaking pieces of legislation, forging forward into what he called the Great Society.
LBJ had a vision that a large federal government was the best way to help as many people as possible, and his legislation remains some of the most impactful in history.
So LBJ wanted nationwide, credible, educational news, and so he helped create Public Broadcasting Service, PBS. Thank you, LBJ, and viewers like you. It's a moon rock, one of very few outside of NASA. Even though we landed on the moon just shortly after Johnson's presidency, we would not have gone to the moon without LBJ. Oh, President's calling. He says there's no good barbecue in Washington, D.C. He'd like for you to ship him some. Pickles and onions, no sauce, unless the brisket's dry. Yes, Mr. President, yep.
LBJ was a talker, with a slow Texan drawl and a corny yet charming sense of humor. And when he really needed something, well, he used his 6'4" stature to give others the Johnson treatment of persuasion. However, even he ran into a challenge he could not politic or persuade his way out of.
Vietnam was his quagmire. He couldn't figure out how to get us out of the war, couldn't figure out how to win the war. It was a turning point for America's faith in the military, in the news, in the presidency. I mean, this picture is of him looking at this map. It's pretty incredible, all of it. The time in history, the artifacts in the museum. It's hard to even put into words, truthfully.
Even though he passed over 50 years ago, America still feels his imposing presence.
Yes, Mr. President. Yes, we'll make a really good segment about your museum, I promise.
And I recommend everyone come here to get their own Johnson treatment. To see the full episode or to get info about how to visit this spot, trip on over to thedaytripper.com.